Time. One of the few things on this planet that we cannot stop. I mean, well, never say never, right? But speaking about time makes me think about a particular Assassin's Creed game that came out more than a year ago. And you know the one, right? You know? Assassin's Creed Shadows? Yeah. I don't blame you if you've forgotten, because I had the same thought. And not just once, by the way. Because I'm going to be completely honest with you, it's been a year since Shadows, or just over a year. And I would not be surprised if a lot of people actually didn't even realise it came out in 2025. Because, I'm being honest, there's been multiple times within the last year where I actually forgot that it existed, right? And I'm a die-hard Assassin's Creed fan. But literally, I remember there was a time and I was like, oh wait, Shadows did come out last year. And that's the sort of vibe and sort of like perspective that I get from a lot of people in the community, right? Because when you think about some of the other sort of maybe controversial or let's say weaker Assassin's Creed games over like the last decade, even then to this day they still feel very relevant. Like the player engagement or just the way they get talked about or how they're just always occupying on your mind or how they stand out to a degree, like with an element of iconicness, if you know what I mean. But I don't get that with Shadows at all. And for me, I think this is where also time itself has really hurt it. Because the more time has gone on, the more Shadows literally just keeps fading away into the shadows. Like, no pun intended, if you know what I mean. Because when you kind of look back at some of the older Assassin's Creed games, or the Assassin's Creed games that might come across as a little bit controversial, for example, let's just say like Rogue or Unity, right? Even to this day, they're still very relevant. There still feels like a lot of engagement. They still have this sort of element of popularity or iconicness, if you know what I mean. But I don't get that with Shadows, and I don't think we're ever going to get it, right? Now, I get some people could say, well, you're being a bit harsh. Shadows is only 1 year old. You're comparing it to games that are 10, 12 years old. Yes, you would be right in other sort of circumstances, but no. You know when you just know, and you can just like tell. I mean, I knew this 6 months after when Shadows came out, when they were still releasing them sort of free drops, right? I just knew it was dead and buried. And then the Mirage DLC came out, kind of just overshadowed it. Yet again, no pun intended. And now we've got Black Flag Resynced, and you know what? It's probably best that we don't get a second year of content, because it would have been so non-existent, right? Especially if it was releasing now, because no one cares. That's the thing. The post-launch content was abysmal. I don't know what they were smoking on that sort of Attack on Titan stuff, right? It was just silly. But a lot of this just stems from also the quality of the game itself, right? So, when it finally got announced that we're going to feudal Japan, everyone was like, finally, it's been 16 years since you last said it. Because remember, the other requested one was Egypt, and we got that within Origins, and it was one of the best Assassin's Creed games. So finally, we're going to feudal Japan. And I'm not going to lie, I was getting a bit intrigued. You know why? Because when they announced what time period it's going to be set in, I was like, finally, this is a time period where the assassins are the assassins and the Templars are the Templars. So there's a lot of potential here. So clearly, we're going to be playing as an assassin, right? Right? Well, no, not really. But shall I tell you also what it did as well in its marketing? When them story trailers came out, and I know you all know, you cannot tell me that they weren't quite good. They weren't getting the hype. Because you know what they did? And this is where false marketing comes into play, or sort of marketing bait. They showed a lot of the mocap scenes from the first few hours of the game and the last few hours, where it focuses mainly on the assassins and the Templar aspect. So when you're seeing that, especially for all of us who've been waiting to see this and for the series to kind of go back to its roots, we're like, whoa, this has the potential to be the best in the world. And then the day finally came, and yeah, no, it's probably, right, the most mundane or boring or dull Assassin's Creed game in the whole entire franchise, and I'm not even exaggerating. It really is, right? Especially the story. Wow. Because I'll say this, the first 5 or 6 hours of Shadow's story, I was like, oh, you know what, this is pretty good. Because you know why? It's very focused. It's very linear. You're playing as one character. So the story can have a lot of high quality, especially because they always throw a lot of mocap cutscenes in there. And yes, I'm talking about mocap cutscenes again. They're very important. They should be giving us this random, janky, silly, stupid, bizarro-ness camera angles, low quality, effort, weird facial animation, lip syncing stupidness. I don't want that anymore. Get rid of it. I don't want to see that in Black Flag Resynced as well when it comes to the new content. So don't you dare bring that back. But you know what I mean, though? It was very focused, And I was like, oh, okay. And then we get Yasuke, and then it falls into the main sort of meat and potatoes, which is basically 60 hours of hunting down carbon copy and paste Shinbok-fu members with the most lowest quality of writing, facial animations, and storytelling. And that's literally 90% of the whole story. Oh, and then in the last 2 hours, we go back to high quality again. You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what it's like across the whole board. Apart from the weather dynamic system being very cool and elements of the stealth, that's it really. The side content is poor. The characters are just non-existent, right? Hattori Hanzo is an absolute clown. I don't know what he is. He's an awful character. The villain, the main villain reveal, the main Shinbok-fu member, might be the worst reveal ever. It's so obvious and it's terrible, right? The way the story ends, it's not even an ending. It finishes in a DLC, but not in a good way. And the post-launch content, like I'm not trying to be negative just for the sake of it, but this is the thing where I just feel like this game is it's just come and gone. No one really wants to think about it or play it again or go back to it or talk about it or whatever it is, right? Not like you get with all the other Assassin's Creed games, because like I said, even in some of the most controversial or weaker ones, at least there's something about them, right? And they're actually quite good. But with Shadows, it's just where we're at, right? And like I said, time itself, not only for me personally, just makes me kind of dislike the game more, but as I said, it really is just pushing this game to the point where it doesn't even seem like it even existed. And it might be the only Assassin's Creed game where it has just sort of faded away, right? Like it's just going to fall into that. But yeah, to be honest, that's all I wanted to say before I completely lose my mind. I kind of just went off script, to be honest, and I just had to start speaking about it a bit passionately. But what do you think, though? Like, do you think I'm overreacting? Do you kind of understand where I'm coming from? What do you think about Shadows in general? If you love it, by the way, that's completely fine. That's great. You know what I'm saying? It's not like I'm trying to hate on anyone. Of course not. I'm kind of just looking at it realistically. And I'm actually glad that we're not getting any Year 2 roadmap post-launch content, because Black Flag Recent would have just overshadowed it anyway, like it already is now. So it's actually more of a benefit, so it doesn't do any more damage to the game itself. But yeah, what do you think? I'm very curious. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one.